continue to make it through together. But what it also was the 2-month anniversary of the show, and I'm not going to be like a super clingy girlfriend, and I'm not going to say, oh, okay, it's been 2 months, and now it's been 3 months, and now it's been 4 months since we've been together. But I did want to take a second, because I was thinking about this the other day. You know, I do have a background in radio. I did college radio for 4 years. I had my own show for about a year and a half, and that's where I got most of my journalism experience before moving on into the beat that I currently am on. And I was thinking about it, and I've talked about it on the show before, about the differences between having a radio show with other people and then having a podcast in which you're mostly speaking by yourself. And I was just thinking about that. I'm like, okay, well, it's a little bit different. I don't necessarily have people to go off of. I don't have people to conversate with. It's a lot of manual work. It's a lot more work than people would think that it is. I could lay you out my whole schedule if it mattered, but I'm not going to bore you with the details. But I was thinking, okay, now we're 2 months in, and how can I improve the show? What do I want to improve most on the show? Whether it's something that I'm not doing now, whether it's something I want to do in the future. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, well, I already think that I have a really good understanding of how to work the YouTube algorithm, at least a little bit, when it comes to descriptions, thumbnails. I've really gotten into a good groove when it comes to actually posting the podcast on the appropriate platforms and getting the audio file version of the show out. And I was thinking about how I wanted to improve the show, and really, it's more comes to just kind of linguistical things more than anything else. I've noticed just watching back all my footage a lot of time, I've talked with my hands a whole lot, which is fine, because some people are not going to be watching this with video. But other times, you know, I'm really focused on, wow, I'm breathing way too much, or, man, there's a specific term for what this is, and I'm not recalling the specific term, but it's a pause. It's almost like a stutter, and everybody will do this almost subconsciously, especially if you work with your voice a lot, where you kind of have this mental process where you can physically see the cogs turning in the wheels in the person's head turning when they're processing their thoughts, and usually that can mostly be silent. Or at least the professionals are really good at keeping that silent. But for me, I let out a low-pitched and that's my cognitive wheel thinking. That's how I process. That's how I carry myself from one thought to another. So that's something that I want to work on. I want to try to eliminate that as much as possible, because if you watch some of the guys like Colin Cowherd, for example, who have been doing this for years and years and years, what they tend to do and what they're very good at is they're very good at transitioning thoughts. They are very good at making sure that their thoughts are concise and clear, and instead of having an auditory, I guess, sound in which you can tell that they're transitioning between thoughts, they are just silent. And they take that moment to not, you know, either stutter or just go, or, you know, whatever that would be, whether that's maybe like a lip smack, everybody is different. For me, it's obviously the low auditory and I know now that I pointed it out, people are going to be like, wow, he does do that a lot. Hopefully I didn't just completely sabotage my own show today, but I do want to work on that. That's something that just comes with reps and experience, and I know that one day I'm just going to have to sit down on the show and say, okay, today we're going to go with some easier topics. I really want myself to think about not making that auditory and transitioning between segments or transitioning between thoughts, and just opt for silence instead, because it's going to make me sound a little bit more dignified. It's going to make me sound a little bit more organized, because apart from contrary belief, I am actually pretty organized when it comes to the show. So oh, I almost just did it. I caught myself. So that's something I want to work on. The other thing I want to work on is I want to try and stop saying what I think. Now, obviously, this is a show in which my opinion matters. That's essentially what drives the show, is my opinion. And it's hard to do that when you're on a platform in which you're starting with basically no subscribers and you're working your way up. And people are going to be asking you, well, why is your opinion worth anything? Why should I listen to your opinion? And that's something that you're going to struggle with no matter what. So you really just need to articulate yourself correctly and make sure that you have concise and interesting opinions. And along with that is having confidence in your opinion that what you're saying is correct and what you feel is the correct opinion. And I have found that I have the tendency to say, well, I think this or I think that. And really, you can just eliminate the I think part of it and just talk about your opinion. So instead of saying, I think that Russell Wilson is not going to be traded this offseason, you should just come out straight and say it and say, Russell Wilson is not going to be traded this offseason. So It's the small auditory things that I do to transition between processes or transition between segments or thoughts in my head, and also get out my opinions that I want to fix. So it's those small things that maybe you don't necessarily listen to, but things that I can hear when I watch myself and I listen myself back during these segments. So that's something that I want to subconsciously work over or work on over time, and I know that will improve. But also when it comes to the way that the show is run and the type of show that I want to have, I've been really trying to find my voice on the show for a while now, and it's not like I'm disorganized or that I don't know how I really want to run the show in terms of process and terms of organizationally, like how many segments I want to have, how much I want to talk about, how much I'm going to post on YouTube, whether I save videos for later. I'm talking more about my tone as a voice or as opinion, because as I said a little bit ago, my voice, in my opinion, is ultimately what matters the most on the show, especially for somebody who doesn't know me and just sees me as somebody on YouTube and says, oh, this guy's just a casual football fan making videos, instead of, okay, wow, this guy's been working in sports media and sports journalism for close to 5 years now, and he actually kind of understands what he's talking about for the most part. So I for a while have been trying to make that side of me a little bit more apparent, say, okay, this is a little bit more professional, this is a little bit more organized, and as much as my personality is going to shine through, there's more that I can do to make this seem like I actually know what I'm talking about, and I've been fixating on that. Oh, I actually know what I'm talking about, this is professional, this is somebody who's been working in the business for a little bit, and now is trying to make a go of it on his own. And I feel like I have better shows when I don't do that. And that's kind of conflicting for me, because it's like I really want to show people that I am who I say I am, and I'm not just some scrub on the internet who's talking a lot of BS, you know? But I feel like I genuinely have better and more entertaining shows like this one when I'm just explicitly transparent and I have more of my personality in it and it's more laid back. Maybe I am more loose with my tongue, although I do try to keep this show PG-13 at the very most. So whether I'm just more laid back and I'm more expressive, I think I have better shows when I just kind of let loose and just let my personality shine through, as opposed to having a organized or not organized, but more, I guess, professional sounding show, as opposed to a show that allows my personality to shine through more than anything else. Because if you wanted to go and watch just a professional show, where would you go? You'd go to Fox Sports. You'd go to NBC Sports. You'd go to ESPN for your professional sports takes. Although Stephen A. is being worked so hard over there, and that's just basically a bunch of screaming. No disrespect to Stephen A. He's a fantastic journalist, even before he was a media personality. But I digress. So that's just kind of some of the things that I want to work on with myself on the show. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a YouTube video on that, but on the off chance that I do make a YouTube video on that, let me know what improvements you want to see with the show, what segments you would like to see on the show, because this is as much your show as it is my show. I can't do this without feedback from you all, so please let me know. On the off chance that I post this on YouTube, you know what, I'll probably just go ahead and say I'm going to post it on YouTube, so please let me know what you all think. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, find some way to get your opinion to me, please. Some of you probably know me personally, so you can go ahead and do that. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this segment from the Hard Headed Sports Podcast. You've heard what I've had to say, now I'm interested to hear what you think as well. If you enjoyed this highlight from the show and want to watch more highlights from the show as they come out after the show's completion, you should definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you're interested in listening to the entire show in its full-length entirety, you should follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all very soon.